Please stand and pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have no public hearing tonight. And we don't have any announcements or notifications either. Any presentations or discussions? Okay, that'll bring us into our standard agenda items. We have a motion to approve the minutes from May 20th, 26th.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. We'll go into our resolutions. Resolution 1 is approval from the Massena Town Council for the library director to hire the candidate for the library aide position pending the outcome of the Massena Town drug and alcohol screening policy. Could we entertain a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Okay.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Number 2, approval from the Massena Town Council for the town supervisor to sign the lease purchase agreement for the 2025 International HV 507 truck with Tenco dump body, plow and spreader at the highway garage. Equipment cost is $240,162.98 to be leased for 5 years at $55,886 per year. Could we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Excuse me. Number 3, approval from the Massena Town Council for the Town Clerk's Office to be a member of the NYSTCA, New York State Town Clerks Association. The membership fee is $85 per year. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Number 4, approval from the Massena Town Council for the town supervisor to sign the resolution in support of a grant application throughout the Consolidated Funding Application, CFA, process to secure funding for Massena tourism. Motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Okay. 5, approval from the Massena Town Council for the town supervisor to sign the confidentiality host site agreement for the National Pro Fishing League, LLC, from July 19th to July 25th, 2026 at the Massena Intake Dam. The cost for the town is $40,000.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Approval from the Massena Town Council of the town supervisor to sign the contract between the town of Massena and the St. Lawrence County Chamber of Commerce, Inc., for services provided from July 1st, 26 through June 30th, 2027, in the amount not to exceed $5,000. Motion?
No motion.
Second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Number 7, approval from the Massena Town Council or the town supervisor to sign the addendum to the water supply and maintenance agreement between the town of Massena and the village of Massena. The addendum dated June 17, 2026, amends and supplements the water supply and maintenance agreement effective January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2028. A motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. This is kind of a historic issue. This has been going on since 1958 to bring everybody in Massena part of the water district. So it's been going on for 67 years. We finally, between the town and the village, we finally got it together and got it secured. So kind of a milestone actually.
A lot of work with both committees to go through and hash it all out, and they did a great job representing the town, and as well as Derek and the rest of the staff.
Thank you for everybody involved.
Great
That was a
job.
lot of work. Okay. Warrants. You have a motion to accept the warrants.
I'll make a motion that we accept the warrants.
Okay. Second.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion to accept the transfers and amendments.
We'll vote.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? So moved. Motion to accept the transfers and amendments.
I make a motion, we accept the transfer and amendments.
Okay, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Bookkeeper's report?
Yep. Okay, as of June of 2025, our revenue was $5,368,215. As of today, June 17th and 26th, our revenue is $5,511,965. So our 2026 revenue is $143,750 more than June of 25. Our expenses in June of 25, our expenses were $4,122,891. And our expenses as of today, June 17th, 26, are $4,088,656. Our 2026 expenses are $34,235 less than June of 2025.
Thank you, Brenda. City and department reports. Town highway, Dylan.
For the highway department, we've chipped the brush pile one time, we've mowed cemeteries 3 times. We started road work for, later in the summer paving on Roosevelt Town Road. We've replaced 3 driveway culverts, we repaired 5 yards from winter water line breaks. We set up an auction for the surplus equipment at the highway garage that is hopefully going to be online within the next week or so on Auctions International. We've started mowing all town roadsides for equipment repairs. We painted all plows and wings and stored them for the summer. For the airport, boutique air numbers for May were 487 emplaned, 463 deplaned, for a total of 950. There was 183 landings and 3 canceled flights due to weather. We continue to remove beaver dams from drainage systems. Summer help has started and continues to finish mow. We started brush hogging fields, and the terminal access road rehabilitation project has started. They are looking at paving the end of next week, weather pending. For the library, museum, and town hall, there is no new issues.
Thank you, Dylan.
Just want to comment, highway anyway, I noticed the county roads were being mowed, last year and this year, actually, were
Yep.
very, very good job. Actually, I think a lot of the debris was picked up and they were mowed back far, and, I find out that Louisville's doing it. So, I was gonna commend the county, but I gotta commend Louisville for doing a great job on the county roadsides. I think we need to work on our town, roadsides as well. In my neighborhood, you know, my wife hit a deer. She's hasn't had anything since she was 16 years old, driving back north to Canton. My neighbors hit 3 deer. Our daughter just hit a turkey. Everything's all grown in close to the roadway. You can't see the wildlife. They've been displaced out there. It's not a good traffic area. You know, there's campers going down to the AMVETS. There's the Seaway Maintenance Center and warehouse. There's tractor trailers, there's wide cranes, it's congested in there. I think we need to do, look around at all of our town roads actually and make sure they're safe. We know, vehicles are expensive, repairs are expensive. That's been one of my pet peeves. People that know me, it's been my pet peeve for a long time. I had my share of deer as well. It's not fun, it's expensive. So I think we need to do better, and I think Jared and I plan on looking around our roads, and I'm not saying that's any fault of the highway groups. They do a great job. I know sometimes there's more work than you can handle, and but maybe we have to look at some other avenue. I drive by our right-of-ways for our power poles, and for the last 20 years, I've seen trees grow up, they get cut down, they grow up again, they get cut down. I don't know why we're not cleaning the road off and making it mowable and mow it. So, you know, the pedestrians and vehicles pull over. I mean, if they got hay and everything else there, they could catch on fire. There's wild parsnip. I've seen that go from the west to the east as the wind blows, right along the roadsides. You know, if they're mowed down before they go to seed, it would slow that down. So, again, it's been my pet peeve for a long time. I'd like to see things, you know, clean up better. Maybe there is some funding out there from other sources. Roadside safety is a big concern of mine. I like to do better.
Joint rec.
I wasn't able to attend, and Christie attended the meeting, but she didn't report, so we don't have anything with Joint Rec.
Town library.
We had a good meeting. I was there for about 45 minutes. I took a lot of notes on my phone, and I went to access them the next day, and they disappeared. And then they went into executive session after that, so I mean, that's about all I had for the town library, and I know Chris does a great job at filling us in on the library, so I'll leave it to her.
All right. So to give the total for May for the library value to the community, we saw $89,942 worth of use of the library in the month of May. And just to give some background on that, that's looking at the circulation of materials, the use of our space for meeting, and program attendance, and putting that into a calculator. If you were to pay for all those things themselves, it would have cost $89,942, which came at no cost to the attendants and the participants. I want to point out some of our lesser-known services. This month, I want to point out ArtistWorks. It allows you to learn an instrument online with your library card. Each instrument has a massive lesson library that covers the fundamentals, advanced techniques, and key learning strategies. And if you don't own an instrument, we have you covered there too. Through our partnership with Harmony New York Performing Arts Community, you have access to an extensive instrument lending library just with your library card. So summer's a really great time to learn a new instrument, and you can do that in multiple ways with your library card. I'd like to invite everybody to check out the exhibition currently on display in our downstairs art gallery. This is grant funded through the Badenhausen grant from the Northern New York Community Foundation. We bought hardware to install on the downstairs hallway walls. And the Massena Artists Association currently has an exhibition down there, and it's beautiful. It's really nice against those marble walls. Upcoming events, on the 23rd, we have basket weaving. On the 24th, we have Revolutionary War Militia, a new look with David Rocky Rockwell. Again, thanks to Don for introducing us to Rocky. He's been fantastic, and we're really looking forward to that presentation in honor of the 250th. Also,
They met on June 4th from 4:30 to 5:30. They had eight ascensions, 0 de-ascensions sessions, 65 visitors. They sold 3 museum books. They also knew volunteers, and they're always looking for more volunteers in the museum. They had an open doors to a history event for the county, and they also had a retirement celebration for Linda McDonald for their 13 years of service there, and that was a nice reception we had over there for her. They continue to work on the shed, the storage shed, organizing that. That's coming along nice. They got a cover coming for the clothing. Linda McQuinn has been working with them in the tournaments and such in the museum. They're working on book shelving for the storage, and the Pomeroy grant was approved and the sign being made. There'll be a ceremony out in the Massena Center here this coming spring for the 250th, the Revolutionary War heroes. Memorial Day, they're open for 4 hours, and there will be no July meeting. So that's it for the museum. Don, my turn.
Deja vu to me, getting up here and, you know, I don't wanna say the same things, but, you all have a report, and I didn't bring copies for you all because trying to keep paper to a minimum and make it easier for all of you. But one of the things that I did wanna talk about was the Vietnam veteran, guys from the Navy that came up here as a result of our sports shows that we do. And I think it's really important that we emphasize as much as we can the impact of doing what we've done. And I see Donnie's here tonight, and, you know, this has gone on for a decade. And when we first started doing these for the town of Massena, Donnie came down to Springfield, Massachusetts, and brought a display of the fishes in the St. Lawrence River, and it was pretty impressive. I know when he got there, he came the second day, and he looked at our booth, and it was pathetic, and he set it up his way, and it really made a huge difference. But my point is, the people that have come together to make this all possible, the people in Massena that make our teamwork so incredible, and Donnie was certainly one of them, and I'd love to see him guiding again, because that's the type of thing that we need when we tell people to come up here. And there was an article that was sent to all of you that was put in North Country this week, was it, Linda? Yeah, that captured the fact that these guys came up and they raved about how they were treated up here in Massena. And I just want to repeat something that I've said so many times before, that when we're doing our fishing, whether it's the sports shows or the tournaments, the whole point isn't about glamorizing fishing as much as it is to serve as an incentive to get groups of people and families to come up here and experience what North Country life is about. And on Monday I did a radio show with Donnie Despo, and I mentioned that I want the people of the area to understand that why we do this is to try to get people to experience what the life is here, and also that the goal is not to change what Massena is. I don't want us to become a quote tourist town like Lake Placid or Lake George, or that isn't what we're trying to be. We're trying to just retain what's made us famous, which is the history, and that's why I think the Lock Center is so critical, because it pretty much, it's a representation of what Massena has been and what they've become. The other thing I wanted to mention is, I think our Big Bass Blowout should become the most important, biggest thing that we do up here, and you know, Krista made me think about what I wanted to speak about, because Ray, you put this together, and we have the Massena Arts Council, or whatever that organization is called, with Carolyn Cook, came out to the intake, we talked about it, and that's really in process now. We have it all planned, that when we do the Big Bass Blowout, they're gonna be out there at the pavilion to put on an event that's gonna show people the art of people in Massena, where we'll have local artists there. And there also is gonna be, she's talked to Powell to get kids involved out there. It's gonna be about fish and Massena and art. And Krista talked about the fact that she's gonna have story walk out there. This is really important to us because this Big Barrels Blowout is all about Massena. More than anything else, it's about Massena. And this helps fortify that by bringing another element of Massena into this whole day's celebration. The other thing that I did want to mention is that Carolyn has already talked to the people at the museum in Akwesasne to bring some native art out, and I think this is terrific to be able to put this all together. The other thing that I did want to mention is that we've had conversations with some of our legislatures to bring the St. Lawrence County legislature up to speed about how Massena has become the tourism center for the whole North Country. And we just want them to understand the process that's gone on and what Massena's done to make this possible. And speaking about that is one of our legislators was called and said, I want to help you guys in any way that you need for our tournaments. And so anybody here that wants to volunteer to help us with running these tournaments, we've got a great team already in place that we've built over the last few years. And so, and that team is all in place right now. I've been making sure that I can count on all the people that we've had, and we'll have the rescue boat there as well. I've talked to Norm and the Tooper brothers that drive that, and they're all scheduling to be here to help us out for this. Because they not only bring the boat, but they bring themselves and they drive the carts, and it's pretty amazing when we can get people that aren't in Massena, that take such an interest in helping us become what we are, and you know, I think that's fantastic. So the other thing I did want to mention is that I got an email, and you probably haven't heard anything about this yet because I just got it yesterday, from Bass. And Bass is now combining with the National Football League, and they're gonna have an event in Clayton celebrating how football and Bass all comes together, and they're gonna have Hall of Fame members of the National Football League fishing with the Bass people down there. Now, that isn't us, and I had nothing to do with that, but it can't hurt us because now there will be even more attention to the St. Lawrence River. So I guess that's it for this month.
I think the most important thing is you secured the harbor master for your fishing tournaments. So congratulations on that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Don.
Yes.
Linda?
I sent my report to the board, but I wanted to mention the Market New York grant. My thanks to the board for approving that resolution so we can go forward with that. We have until July 31st as our deadline for submission. Also, it looks like we may be able to close out the Community Development Block Grant. We've sent everything that they've asked for, and I really think that they will approve it this time, so then I'll start working with Joni and Brenda to file all of those wonderful files and have all of that cleaned up, so good news.
Thank you, Linda. Chamber of Commerce, Ben Dixon. Sorry.
There we go. Now, can you hear me now?
Yes, Ben, you got the floor.
Okay, great. Thanks. Thanks for accommodating me on Zoom here while I'm visiting family. But you know, thanks to the wonders of Zoom, you still have to see my mug this evening, even though I'm not there in person. Anyway, great to hear all these fabulous reports and updates. So much going on in Massena. I'll add my piece here. I'd like to just start by once in a while, it's nice to just remind everyone of our mission, which is to cultivate, develop, and support our chamber members and other businesses by creating a vibrant business climate that encourages growth and enhances the unique quality of life here in St. Lawrence County. And our big goals in committing to a presence and office here in Massena are to support those businesses and organizations through business, economic, community, and workforce development. We really want to create a climate that builds commerce and helps the constituents of the community to meet their goals and to prosper. And so towards that end, we've had some recent activity specific to Massena in pursuit of that mission. I'll note that we have our the Massena townwide garage sales are going to be on June 27th to 28th. And you can get information and register to the site at slcchamber.org. We've got a virtual map and stuff, so it's kind of cool how we're doing that to enable folks who want to be part of selling their wares around the community to do so. I'll note we had a business mixer at Esther's Coffee House on the 13th. And we have a ribbon, we're assisting the Police Activities League tomorrow with a ribbon cutting for their new playground at 30 Bailey Road at 5 o'clock. So definitely bring your kids or grandkids, the more the merrier. We'll also be doing a home zone, ribbon cutting for home zone and grand opening. That's being scheduled soon. Our Lunch and Learn webinar, we recently held one on managing personal debt, and that was a good one for businesses to share with their employees. As far as online virtual activities like that, we also have coming up on June 30th, we'll be doing a chamber chat with Mark Murray from Liberty Utilities. He'll share some insights about himself and his work with the company and give some good lessons learned for other business leaders of the community. And I'd like to welcome Simply Wellness Spa as our newest chamber member from Massena. With that, I'd note that our Massena membership is now at 70 members, and 15 of those have actually joined in 2026, and I know we've got some more on the way, so nice to see us in the place where we are growing and bringing more of our businesses together in a nice network here. So that's really the activity that's kind of Massena specific from the past month. We've obviously got a lot more programming county-wide in nature and can benefit our members and businesses of the community, things like the St. Lawrence Leadership Institute and connections to business development programs like the Center for Entrepreneurial Leadership and the Center for Business Transition. So glad to have some good activity still rolling after the Spring Fever Festival. And with all that said, I just want to thank the board for its continued support so that we can keep making positive progress here from the past year and keep that progress going. Our financial capacity to continue to serve the business community and the organizations of Massena and have an office here is really dependent upon that support. We do recognize and commend the strong investments that are already being made by the town for critical tourism and promotion work being done by community leaders like Don and Jason Hendricks that note that the work we're doing in the chamber is really supporting our businesses and nonprofit sectors is really, while it's independent of that investment, it's certainly complementary, as we do need strong businesses to serve the visitors to our communities. So when you put all those investments together, you're creating a community that has a strong business climate and that's enticing to residents and workforce and entrepreneurs and visitors alike, and creates a great place to live and work and play and raise a family and run a business. So accordingly, I just want to thank the town board for the continued support so we can keep serving our business and organization constituents in the community. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to field them.
I don't have any.
I think we're good, Ben.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ben.
Yep, you bet. Thank you.
Paddle
So, right now, we've got, the same 3 properties that we've been keeping our eye on. We've got one where the owner is still incarcerated with the state, so we're not gonna make any progress on that for a while. We've got 2 others that are out-of-state landlords that we just cannot get to return phone calls or emails. I think the biggest issue we still face is, similar to every code enforcement office, is property changes hands, trying to figure out who the current owner of the property is, and then it seems like by the time we finally track down that person, it's changed hands again, and a lot of time with out of the area landlords. I think so far this season, we've already processed almost as many building permits as we did all last summer, at least dollar amount wise. So that's decent. Month of June, we had 62 complaints. The only thing that saved us, because right now, a complaint averages about 3 hours of work. Between the time you enter it in, you go out, you talk to people, you put everything together, you look in the codes. So 62 times 3 hours would have buried the code office. Luckily, out of those 62, only 14 belonged to us. So, the rest were the village of Massena, the town of North Fork, the town of Louisville, and NIPA. So we were able to redirect a lot for the village, a lot within the village that people call and report to us. And that is it as far as codes. The only other thing I will mention for Don and Linda is we have state police locked in for BFL, Toyota, NPFL. They're gonna be here for a 3-hour window each morning. We've sent notice to the Power Authority and to Alcoa, so they will know that 131 will be closed between that county route near the beach and Pontoon Bridge Road, and that's where the 2 troopers will be. So we'll do it the same way we did for the championship in the years that I was doing the planning for Tommy Miller and you guys, is it'll be 2 lanes of one direction traffic from the beach side, and then that gives you a straight shot up to the intake launch, and anybody dropping people off or going to that side parking lot will go up the right, we'll ditch in there, so it won't slow traffic down at all. And then the trooper on the other end, because we always have some stragglers that try to get through with boats, is they will be instructed that if they've got a trailer boat, they can come straight through and we can work them into the flow. So in addition to that, we've got 2 light towers coming to the county. I confirmed those, and I've got 2 DOT message boards that'll probably live out there for the entire month of July, just warning people that it'll be closed between certain hours on certain dates. So hopefully that should make things flow smoother, and we won't have anybody almost getting hit out there.
Great, Pat, thank you.
Kind of one point we're getting the lights out there on some of those poles. Would that negate getting the light towers?
Yeah, and they did that in the past. They added a bunch out there, and that made a huge difference. And we can get some more. Light towers are a pain to try to source.
Yeah.
I think we discussed that with the local government task force, about piggybacking the lights we have out there now.
Yeah.
So,
The problem with the
Nice to have
light towers too is almost everybody that owns a light tower that lends it to us is an emergency services organization. So the morning of that fishing tournament, if we're relying on those light towers and there's a meth lab in DeKalb, then those light towers are not coming in the signal. So, yeah, something more permanent might be great.
thank you, Pat. Town planning and zoning. Okay. Massena Electric.
I have nothing right now. We're gonna meet next week. Superintendent's job has been posted. That's all I have.
Jason Hendricks is not here. Okay, the old business.
I'd like to talk about a few things. That's what people ask about, how we started with Bitcoin mining and that back in, I think maybe 2017, Ashton and Kerr came to town and were looking for a site to set up their Bitcoin mining, and we're working on the Alcoa East site. We had about 500 or 600 properties for sale within the Massena School District. A lot of them were boarded up. The plant was closed. At one time, Alcoa was going to put a smelter in there many years ago, and if they didn't move in there, chances are the old foundry would have been demolished, and But it's been up there for this amount of time, and it's assessed for $24 million. That's $160,000 a year that the town gets in taxes from that facility. Without that, our taxes would go up about 6%. It's about 6% of what we collect. So they've been there for a while. They've had some jobs there. It was put on the map as the world's largest Bitcoin mining facility. They put us on the map. Fishing, that was started, like Don said, about 10 years ago, that put us on the map. And it wasn't a mistake that we went and looked at branding and our logo and got all that together, and that put us on the map. And we did that to attract new business here, right? The miner on Alcoa Road, that was town property, it was sold, and I had a concern about that not being developed to its full potential because it's a good piece of property. And that's kind of at that time now. I think we really need to take a hard look at any industrial development coming to Massena. Whether it's a data center or something else, they don't come around that often. I remember when I was a kid, we talked about the super collider, the racetrack, the Croc Center's been mentioned. What else do we have? Well, most recently, the hydrogen plant. And that didn't come to fruition. We don't have many options, and things don't come along every day. We've worked hard. There's been a lot of people worked hard to get these industries in here. For the last 6 months, the moratorium was off, and we've listened to a lot of the complaints and concerns. Those have been captured. Codes have been written pertaining to those. And myself personally, I shouldn't even be looking at this. The last decade, we had the Grass River cleanup, which was quite invasive to our neighborhood and everybody else downstream. The last 4 years, I had a substation built across the road for me. And my background has been at Power Dam, Power Authority's Power Dam. I learned a lot there as a water operator and many other licenses. And between all these years of watching everything going on and what could possibly come in the future, I don't know what else could be here at Massena other than a warehouse full of computers. I have concerns. I live, less than a mile from a possible facility. And I think we need to write the code so it protects the residents of Massena. That's our job, to protect the residents of Massena, to give them peaceful enjoyment of their property. I'm also not naive to know that I didn't build my house near industrial sites. The Seaway is by me. I hear when they're banging on some metal. I can hear the power dam from 2 miles away on a very quiet night. If not that, I hear the ships going through the snow lot. I hear the racetrack in Canada. I hear the racetrack on the reservation. I know where I built my house. I can see Reynolds Plant from my deck. It's tough for me. But we have to look at what's facing us now, protect the community, all the communities, and look what we can make of this. I've already started checking to see what fire apparatuses we need. Our ladder truck's 24 years old. That's something that will have to be bought, and I expect that the developers buy that. There could be grant money with it. There is probably going to be more plowing. Maybe we have to have another driver and a plow truck to service those areas. We need to, if we do this and we have our codes all in order and the developers can abide by them, and we can come up with a community host agreement that benefits Massena, MED, ratepayers, and the whole community with an influx of jobs and other opportunities, I think we really need to look at that and entertain it. Like I said, people have worked very hard over the years to bring something in here to this town. And then when it goes away, the ones that are doing the most work, you blame for pushing it out. groups that we had, the BDC, council people, village trustees, everybody's worked hard. This is our hometown. We need to look at opportunities. That's all I have. I appreciate it.
Public safety is our top priority in Massena. It's also part of our duties to look at opportunities, any industry, any good, well-paying jobs that want to come into Massena, we do have to take a serious look at. Any other old business? Any new business?
Mr. Supervisor, this is the appropriate time, but Lindsay Habenreich with Phillips Lido representing NCCS. We understand that the town has or will engage a consultant to support the town in its review of our pending application. We have presented to the town a draft escrow agreement for your review, sort of in consistent with what Mr. Carbone said. We want to make sure that the developer is paying for those, the support that the town needs to help review our project, to make sure those safety and other concerns are properly looked at and addressed. So we have a draft escrow agreement before the town that'll take the town through, to the extent we get there, municipal approvals as well as building permit review. So Mr. O'Brien is also not unduly burdened by having to potentially permit a large facility. That agreement is before the town. We are here to answer any questions you have on that agreement, and we are hoping that the town will review and approve that agreement tonight so that when you do engage a consultant, you have developers' fees available to support the town in paying for those services.
Supervisor, I'm assuming that's what we're going to discuss in executive session, correct?
NCCS has been a good community member since you've been here. You contributed highly to the fire departments and the local groups and PAL and fishing tournaments. You've been a good community member. Remember when I first got on board, there was no lights on the water tower down there, and it was an aerial safety hazard. And you immediately addressed it. Quite a cost to yourself, so you've been a good community member. Jason's not here, okay, let's go. Next regular meeting is Wednesday, July 15th at 4:30. We'll allow 15-minute public comment period here for closing remarks. Anybody have any closing remarks? Okay. Can I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Excuse me, there wouldn't be public comment?
Oh,
Yeah. Go ahead.
This is originally intended for the village, but I'm glad to hear supervisor and councilman say that it's the government's job to keep this community safe. I intended to bring this to the village, but I think the whole of the government of Massena ought to hear what I have to say. I'm here to let the board know of my concerns of what's going on at the footbridge at the end of Liberty Avenue. 2 weeks ago, a patrolman from the Massena Police Department stopped to look at my cameras. There had been a stabbing at the footbridge, and because the town's cameras aren't working, they came to look at mine. Yesterday, a gentleman that owns a bait shop on East Orva Street told me his sons were threatened to be stabbed while they were fishing on the Grass River. For the past couple of years, there has been an upstream from the footbridge has become an encampment for the homeless. This past year, a guy and his girlfriend lived in the encampment all winter long. You know about that, Randy. There have been many others that have used this as encampment as well as space under the train trestle. Last year, I turned into the police department a plastic container that had 15 hypodermic needles in it. A couple weeks ago, my wife and I were walking past where Dr. Swingle had her veterinary service, and we found a hypodermic needle on the sidewalk. This isn't the only problem down at the footbridge. I've seen too many drug deals, and now we've you've got perverts hanging out and picking up disadvantaged girls and paying them for sex. The village did a very fine job creating a park with picnic tables, benches. They planted some beautiful shade trees as well as fencing, sidewalks, and a paved parking lot. When it first opened up, it was nice to see people come down for a picnic, and family would bring their kids with remote control cars and drive them around in the parking lot or fly a kite. Not anymore. I've had people stop at my house and tell me they won't fish there anymore because they feel threatened. Ladies that used to walk their dogs in the park told me they weren't coming around anymore. I haven't seen any parents bring their kids to run the remote cars. The village and the town need to work on getting the cameras workable, or even better, upgrading to the flock system. When a report of wrongdoing is reported to the station, it can be observed by a patrolman out in the field on his phone instead of sitting in the office watching a monitor. But most of all, I'd like to see something about the homeless encampment. Person after person have been run out of there, but left a mess that has left behind it. It's atrocious. I've talked to the police, and I've gone as far as calling the DEC because they're throwing trash in the river. I've lived in this neighborhood for over 50 years, and there has always been some sort of shenanigans. I've never felt unsafe in my neighborhood, but now I look around when I come out after dark. As I've had conversation with Sam about trespassers and people even beat on the side of his garage with a stick and busted his siding. But I got these homeless people coming in and looking in my cars, and I think when I'm gone, they're looking in my garage. Just something needs to be done. Now, this idea that I go back into the days when we originally, with the chief of police, started the neighborhood watch, and I encouraged them to put a camera down there, and it was very useful in catching a lot of the scofflaws in this town, but it hasn't worked in a couple of years, and I bought it to the mayor, I don't know how many times over the last couple of years, but the system that they have to be sitting in the station to watch what's going on in that camera. With the flock system, I call in something down the footbridge, the officer's down in Springs Inn Park, he brings it up on his camera, he knows exactly what's going on. Now, if you think back to this Nancy Guthrie, the news lady that had her mother kidnapped, if they'd had these flock cameras around, I don't think that kidnapper would ever got away. Down at the footbridge, the guy that did the stabbing wouldn't have got away. The people that are making the threats to the boys from the bait shop, they had the camera, I think they catch those people. I'm just amazed at how the system that's been set up there. These homeless people go over to the church food pantry, and then they go over to the, over in the project there, the Salvation Army. But I'm starting to focus on the old adage that if you start feeding a stray cat, you're going to have stray cats around all the time. I'd like to see the town and the village come up with a homeless shelter. I took it upon myself to go over and talk to the Salvation Army and warn these people that you encountered, Randy, on the town hall steps. They were sent to a warming center in Augsburg. That warming center closed down. They're back on the riverbank down here again. I think we need to do something about getting some sort of place for the homeless to get them off the street. I feel sorry for these people. They're less fortunate. Some of them bought their problems on themselves. They're alcoholics, they're drug addicts. And now we're getting perverts and violent people down there. But as a government, I encourage you to talk to the village people that can get something done about this camera.
Have you got any response from the village at all about the cameras?
Nothing whatsoever.
Okay, it's kind of a village issue, but I'll talk to them. Okay.
Appreciate it.
The neighborhood watch, is that still in existence? I know Joe Gray headed it up.
Everybody in my neighborhood thinks that I'm still on the committee. shooting up heroin down there. There was a guy sitting down there with a bottle of liquor, offering liquor to kids that were catching walleyes out of season. On one occasion, someone drove down past my place, parked in the park, but I did know that the surveillance camera was watching a drug house up the street. So when this person drove by, parked their vehicle and went back up, I kind of figured something was funny. Why wouldn't they stop at the house where they were doing their business? I called it in the police station, the car was stolen out of Oswego. The drug dealers got away. But I keep a close eye on it down there, and you'd be surprised. Last night, the cops ran somebody out again. They ran somebody out last week, but the mess would cut, I wish the guy would have showed up with the pictures. I don't even dare go down to the river because I feel threatened in my own neighborhood, but there's an area as big as this room that is nothing but junk. They go to the food pantries and they have these clamshell type packaging where you get like half rice and half chicken. I walked out the door yesterday, there was a box about this big, and there was lemons and sweet potatoes, there was avocados, there was sweet onions, there was 8 or 10 of these packaged meals, and these packaged meals match exactly all the junk that's down by the river. And I would hope that either the town or the village would send a crew down there to pick it up. When it was Earth Day, for the past few years, a bunch of kids have met me down at the footbridge, and we cleaned up that park to the tune of 25, 30 bags of garbage. And I'm trying to reach out to them, see if they go down there and help me with it. But something that I would encourage, talk to the judge. When we, now, the DEC and the police say they won't ticket these people, even though there's an infraction in the law by camping on public property. They know these people have no money, so they don't write them a ticket. I would like to see them get a ticket, have them go to court, and then the judge says, you go down there, clean up your mess. Or the next person that they run off. Well, you settled here, you pick it up. Whoever does it, I'll supply the garbage bags. But over the years, all my charter clients used to come to my house and they go fish that stretch of the river. A lot of people in Massena don't know that that's a very picturesque part of the river. It's all closed in. A lot of people don't see it. I'd like to see the town cut the brush so that when they go down there and sit on the picnic table, they can actually see the river, but they gotta get the crime and all that taken care of. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Donnie.
Appreciate your efforts, Donnie.
It is a problem in this, we have a 25% poverty rate, and we can't just keep looking the other way. Thank you, Donnie. All right, motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Second. Okay. So moved, or, so moved. All right. Thank you for coming, everybody.